Hey guys, I'm going to be doing a pod test today. Today I have, this is Yukari Bakan. I'm not entirely sure if that's pronounced correctly. This is yet another Turkish chili that I'm trying. I've done a few of them this year. Quite interesting trying new varieties from different places. Not a huge amount of information on these. Seeds for this are from Pepper Lover. I grew them outside this year. Quite an interesting plant. As a plant they look pretty ugly to start off with actually, when they're kind of medium size. Because they have a weird sort of, the branches grow in weird clusters. And it's only really once they start putting out fruit that they start to look quite appealing. And when they do, there's a hell of a lot of pods that they put out. It says on the blurb on the Pepper Lover website as well, these grow in clusters upright, and that description is bang on. There's a cluster of maybe 10 or a dozen on each of these branches that look quite odd in the beginning of the year. And you've got these beautiful, they start off quite a dark green and they go to this beautiful sort of almost burgundy colour, very beautiful red, and plenty of them. Very cool. It also said on the website that they will grow on the plant during the summer. They might do in a different climate. In Japan they do not. It's very humid here in the summer, and they did not want to dry on the plant. I quite wanted them to dry on the plant because I wanted to pull a whole branch off and have them dry like that on the branch, but it just wasn't happening. Meant to be good for powdering, which I can imagine. They've got quite a tough skin on them. This one here is a little bit, ever so slightly far gone, but it's got quite a tough skin on it. I did dry a bunch of them, which I've dried and put in bags, and I might powder them later on in the year. So, meant to be pretty hot, which I believe when I cut this one open I could feel a little bit of the heat on my fingers or on my face when I accidentally rubbed it. Nothing too crazy, but still they got a bit of bite to them. Good amount of seeds. I'm trying to get this to focus. There we go. Good amount of seeds and quite a thin flesh. This one was picked a little while ago and it is starting to dry out. Summer's finished now, and so they are drying a bit more. Yeah, like I say, they've got quite a thick skin on them. Let's see what they smell like. Pretty normal kind of Capsicum Annum smell. Slightly appley. Very much like a red pepper. Not hugely overwhelming in the way of aroma on them, but let's see how it is. I imagine it's probably gonna be pretty stingy, but let's go. Cheers. Wow, I wasn't expecting it to be quite as floral. Excuse me, I've had a cough all week. Yeah, quite floral flavour. Not nearly as intense as like a Thai or the Vietnamese chilies that I tried. It's whacking me in the back of the throat as well, which is weird for an annum. Might be the cold I've got as well, but this will help get rid of it. Yeah, quite floral. Although it smells like a red pepper aroma before you eat it, there's not a huge amount of red pepper there. like I thought it would be. It's quite a stingy burn. It's really nagging the sides of my tongue. There was an initial hit in my throat, but that's dying off a bit now. There's quite a lot of seeds to chew on it as well. And a very thick skin on it, which is another reason why I can imagine these would be quite good dried. I dried a bunch of them with the idea of using them in soups and stews and stuff later in the year, or powdering them. Yeah, really stingy burn on the sides of my tongue, a little bit on the roof of my mouth as well, and I can feel it's going to be, I'm going to have clown lips in a minute, which is not a characteristic I like in chilies. It is very hot. It's quite surprisingly hot for an annum. Other than that Vietnamese one, that's probably the hottest annum I've done in a while. Flavour doesn't last a huge amount of time. There's that initial floral, almost Thai-like aroma at first. It's not that intense and it dies off pretty quick. There's a lot of heat. Not really any complexity. Other than that, there's no real sweetness to comment on. There's quite a bit of bitterness, but there is a lot of seeds and a very thick skin that are in that chili, so it's kind of to be expected, I think. Heat is now creeping to the underside of the front of my tongue, and lighting up the gums on my bottom jaw. I can see why they're suggested as powdered. Quite thick skin, quite a lot of seeds. Not really much going on in the way of flavour, but quite a lot going on in the way of heat. As far as an annum variety goes, they would make quite a good powder to use on almost anything, I guess. Anything where you're wanting to put heat in there without a lot of flavour. I tend to use chilies that have a bit of both characteristics to them. I can't really comment much more about the flavour because there isn't really one. There's quite a bit of heat, not a lot of flavour. The little flavour that there was over very quickly. It was more floral up front than I expected. Yeah, there's no real aftertaste, no real aroma. You're definitely left knowing that you just ate a chili, but there's no perfume, no sweetness, no residual flavour. It's starting to make my nose run as well, so it's pretty hot. Really cool plant to grow. Like I say, they look a bit odd at first until they start getting going, and once they start putting out pods, they're really cool. They look really nice once they start putting out pods, and the pods do all grow upright, which I've grown a few varieties that do that, where they grow upright. Usually when people think of chilies, they're usually growing down underneath canopy of leaves. With the Yukari Bakan, you've got your canopy with chilies growing up in the middle of it. It's going through a regrowth stage at the moment. Now the weather's starting to cool off a bit. I don't know, they might put out some, they are putting out pods, but they might not ripen in time. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, fun chili to grow. They look really cool once they get going as well. If you want something that's heat without a huge amount of flavour, then that's the one, and it's probably going to be better and dried than fresh, or you know, in a cooking in a stew or something. But that was the Yukari Bakan. Cheers.